Are you 35 or older and want to lose weight naturally? Watch this video and I'll break down all the steps you need to take. Hi, this is Ivana, helping you get fit, healthy, and strong at any age. If that sounds good to you, please do subscribe and hit that bell. I'm a weight loss coach and a certified strength and conditioning specialist, and I've been working with people primarily over the age of 35 for about 20 years now. Losing weight comes down to producing a calorie deficit. How you can achieve that calorie deficit in a way that makes sense for you, that fits into your normal life without you turning everything upside down, that's what I'm going to talk about in the video today. I've actually already done a video about weight loss over 35. You can check that one out over here. This time I wanted to give it a slightly more fresh perspective and add really specific tips for losing weight over 35. My first tip is eat protein at every meal. Now, there are 3 reasons why you'll want to have protein at each meal. The first one is protein is really important, and you're going to eat more protein if you incorporate it in every meal. Protein helps you build and maintain muscle, and that's a key thing as you're getting older. You want to build and maintain your muscle as much as you can, and protein will help you maintain that muscle mass. The second reason that protein is a good idea is because it helps you reduce cravings. If you have a meal that contains protein, you're less likely to develop cravings later on in the day. That means that you're going to consume fewer calories, and we're back to a calorie deficit. It's going to be easier to maintain your weight because you're not craving things. Now, cravings are actually what many people say holds them back from their weight loss. I've actually got an entire video about helping you deal with carb cravings, so you can check that out over here. In simplest terms, we already know that over-consuming high-calorie foods is going to make you put on weight. If you can reduce the cravings, you reduce how much you're eating, and you're more likely to be able to lose weight. And the last reason is that protein will crowd out the other things that are higher in calories and perhaps not as beneficial. So if you start by eating the protein first, so let's say a chicken breast, fish, lean beef, whatever your protein source is, if you eat that first, it's more likely to crowd out the things at the end. So if you eat slowly, take your time, make sure that your body is getting that signal that it's getting full, then you may not finish your entire serving. You want to focus on the protein and have less space for other things. So the next one is deal with your stress. Admit that it's happening and find a way to cope with it. There's a tendency for people to brush off stress in 2 different ways. The first one is, I'm not stressed, I'm fine. Meanwhile, you're biting off people's heads, and every day when you come home from work, you really feel like you need to wind down with a couple of beers or a couple of glasses of wine, whatever your choice is, and you're not admitting that that equates to stress. The second way that people tend to brush off stress is by saying, I know I'm stressed, but what am I supposed to do about it? My job is really stressful, I have all these responsibilities, what am I supposed to do with this stress? Obviously, stress doesn't start at age 35, but there are particular challenges that come at this age group. You might have young children that can definitely interfere with your sleep and other things that affect your stress. You may have elderly parents that you have to take care of. You may also be in that point in your career where it's a really high growth time and you're pushing yourself very hard to get to the next level. And all those things come together at that same time. Now, all these things make your nutrition, which is really where you want to focus on for your weight loss, very challenging to deal with. Do you eat when you're stressed? Most people do. It's very common. Anytime people find themselves anxious, stressed, food is what they reach for. And the food choices you make tend to be very high calorie and are going to make it really hard to lose weight. My personal favorites right now are ice cream and chocolate. Let me know in the comments what you like to indulge in. Just being aware of your stress and realizing that you're eating because of stress is a big first step. So thinking about it more often, finding yourself some new behaviors that you can do instead of eating when you're stressed. I've actually created an entire video about stress management techniques, so it'll give you some ideas. Just have a look, add that to your list. You can go through a few different options, just ways of dealing with stress that do not lead to eating. But just being aware of your stress and the eating behavior that results from it can be a big help. So I want you to think about that right now, how your stress affects how you eat. My next tip is train with weights. Building and maintaining muscle is one of the most important things you can do when you're trying to lose weight over 35. And without some kind of resistance training, you are going to lose 0.5 to 1% of your muscle mass per year for every year after 35. So you definitely want to do something about that. Muscle is slightly more metabolically active than fat, so you're burning slightly more calories all the time. But more importantly, and a good way to think about it, is if you have more muscle, then you have more active tissue, so you're not dragging around all that extra fat. You actually have the strength to do more stuff. So you're going to increase your calorie expenditure naturally because you're going to feel more energetic. And a lot of the clients that I work with, if they've lost like 10 pounds, 20 pounds, even 30 pounds, then they really feel like it's easier to be more active. They don't feel as tired. They don't feel as sluggish. You have more muscle and you're able to push yourself through your daily physical activity. It's not such an effort anymore. Research has shown that that's a great way to increase your calorie expenditure. That's actually the perfect segue into the next tip. Increase your physical activity level. Now this is about moving more in general. Most of us are chained to our desks all day long, and then we get home and we might just lie down on the couch and watch TV or sit in front of the computer again. And that means that your total calorie burn throughout the day is minimal. A lot of people kind of ignore that incidental movement and think they're just going to head to the gym for a period of time or just do a workout for 45 minutes. But really, if you're moving throughout the day, this can go a long way towards increasing your overall calorie expenditure. And that's what we're looking at. Sometimes as we get older, and this is one of the reasons it might be harder to lose weight over 35, is that we don't do those incidental things, the movements that we used to do. You may just spend more hours on the couch because you're tired from a really stressful day at work. Up to a certain limit, the more you move, the more you're going to want to move. So sometimes it's just a matter of forcing yourself into a routine that may include walking at lunchtime or after dinner if that's possible for you, or at some other time. Just get more movement into your life. My next tip is get enough fiber. As we get older, our digestive health can get worse. Our stomachs don't produce as much of the digestive enzymes or enough of the acid that's required to break down food. And the result can be bloating and constipation or heartburn. So getting enough fiber, 38 grams for men and about 25 grams for women, is really important. From a weight loss perspective, many fibrous foods like vegetables or berries are really low in calories and they can fill you up. So you're consuming fewer calories and you're feeling full and satisfied. If you're trying to lose weight over 35, fibrous foods will help you naturally reduce your calorie intake because they're both low in calorie density and they help fill you up so that you're going to be eating less. That means you eat fewer calories at the time and you eat fewer calories later on. So it's fewer calories overall. And here's the great news. These tips will work for you whether you're 26 or 36 or 46 or 56. There's really no difference. Although there are specific challenges that you might have when you're over 35, we've kind of touched on those and how you can deal with that. But the basics of weight loss don't change. You still need to produce a calorie deficit and you need to have strategies that make sense for your lifestyle. So I hope that feels good to you. As you get older, you're still going to be following the same kind of plan. The basics that you need to use are always the same. Maintain a calorie deficit, keep active, build your muscle, eat well, eat lots of vegetables, get your protein, get your fiber. These are all standard things. I really want people to be more positive about getting older because as long as you make the necessary changes and you really don't use any excuses, then you can lose weight after 35. You can get in the best shape of your life at this age. So please hit that thumbs up if you like the sound of that. So I also want to send you over to my website, ivanachapman.com, where you can pick up a copy of my free ebook, How to Get Lean After 35. So totally on topic and relevant. Please do subscribe, hit that bell, and I can't wait to see you next week.